Now I would like to hand over immediately to Patricia Solano. Patricia, can bioregeneration allow early implant placement? What is bioregeneration? Please help to welcome Patricia. Stage is yours.
Good afternoon, dear colleagues. For me, it's a real pleasure to take part in this Geistlich corporate forum with amazing speakers, where I will focus on explaining how can we place early implant and with the concept of bioregeneration. All we know that when we extract a tooth, we expect bone remodeling. We have previously talked about that. And also, it seems that bundle bone is the first bone to be resolved, and alveolar bone will resolve during all the life. Also, we have data with the systematic review of TAN about these dimensional changes in the vertical and horizontal aspect. But when we place implants, though we think sometimes to place immediate implants, we know that this won't avoid bone resorption. And that's the rationale why always we graft, and at least we maintain 1.5 millimeters of buccal bone. In those cases we don't have, we graft also to maintain, and the rationale is because we want in long and short term the stability of the heart and soft tissue. Regeneration can be defined as the reconstruction of the lost and injured part in such a way that the architecture and the function of this lost part is completely restored. And what is bioregeneration? It's a biological concept that involves the optimization and enhancement of the cellular activity that are involved in the regeneration events that we will see through the histological image, how is well-organized collagen fibers, also extracellular matrix deposition, and faster tissue repair. By this novel material called Regenfast, made of polynucleotides and hyaluronic acid, we promote the cellular activity, and we will go focusing on this new concept of bioregeneration. What is Regenfast? Regenfast is a viscoelastic gel that is composed of polynucleotides, hyaluronic acid, and mannitol as main components. Polynucleotides are natural polymers. In this case, of Regenfast, are made from DNA fraction of salmon threads, and hyaluronic acid, it's, in this case, not reticulated component. The mannitol is in charge of protecting the degradation of the hyaluronic acid. Each of these components has several amount of properties, but mainly polynucleotides will be in charge of stimulating the cellular activity. Hyaluronic acid will prepare and have this repairing tissue in a faster way, and mannitol, as we say, will protect this hyaluronic acid. This product has been tested in preclinical and clinical studies, showing no adverse effects, so we can say it's a safe product. Also, we would see through histological images how it promotes the growth of fibroblasts, helping the repair of the hard and soft tissue, also how it accelerates the healing and also the cellular exchange. Preclinical studies provide some evidence of this use of the polynucleotides and hyaluronic acid in the primary healing fibroblast model in this Colangelo study. They compared 3 groups of treatment with a control group, the use of polynucleotides and polynucleotides plus this hyaluronic acid. And what they see, at 1 week, we see that we have a more dense tissue. Also, they saw significantly expression of the collagen fibers. And if you see those beautiful histological images, we see that almost at 1 week, we have this completely breach of the wound area, also with more mature matrix and well-organized collagen fibers. Where can it be applied? It will be applied for soft and hard tissue regeneration, as alveolar socket preservation, bone augmentation also can be used for periodontal regeneration and soft tissue augmentation when we perform mucogingival surgery. Depending on the anatomy of the defect, also we have seen how the extension and the type of defect would guide us to different techniques and treatment options. In the last 30 years, biomaterials have evolved, giving us a big amount of different options. But what about this re-entry time? Not too much things have changed. Now we are going to share these two clinical cases with sooner re-entry. The first case we would see is a young lady. It's an ASA type 1 patient. She had performed an endodontic treatment in the upper right lateral incisor and re-endo treatment, and she was referred from her dentist because the lateral tooth had impossible prognosis. We see a fistula near the gingival margin, but a nice situation, and the CBCT shows this periapical image. And also, if we look in the cervical area, we can observe that we could have some kind of root resorption. So the diagnosis would be an external and internal root resorption, and our treatment plan would be to extract the tooth, to perform an alveolar socket preservation, a soon re-entry or early re-entry at 3-4 months for placing our implant in a 2-stage surgery. This is the day we extract the tooth automatically, and we confirm that we have this root resorption. We eliminate all the granulation tissue of the apical part, and here we have a video of how we handle this novel material. The proportion is 0.3 is the vial for Regenfast, that it should be mixed with 3 parts of vials, but my tip would be to do it slowly so we have a nice mixture and easily handling so the biomaterial doesn't spread. Here we see the consistency, and we pack all the Regenfast and vials into the socket. Then we will seal the socket with a connective tissue graft from the palate that was de-epithelialized. Before placing it, we place another Regenfast drops on top, and then we seal the socket with a mattress suture in the buccal and in the palatal area. Before placing our provisional restoration that was a Maryland bridge, we did that anchor suture to bring more coronally the gingival margin. We still put the last drops in top of the tissue. This is the 1-week healing. Post-op, we see a nice situation of the healing after removing the sutures and some plaque, and we see that our provisional restoration also helps us to maintain the volume of the papilla and the gingival margin position. This is 2 weeks, 1 week later, and 1 month. We wait 2 more months, and at 3 months, we did the CBCT in order to place our implant earlier. The CBCT shows that we maintain a big volume in the horizontal aspect, and we decide to go for a guided surgery, though we have a nice situation of the soft tissue instead of open a flap. This is 4 months re-entry, and as I had primary stability, I decide also to go for immediate provisional. This means we have bone density. It's not easy sometimes to do a soon re-entry and obtain primary stability to place also the immediate provisional. You see that we perform again a small connective tissue graft on the most coronal part, so we seal with the immediate provisional restoration, and we give that emergence profile that we would know that would maintain the gingival margin position and also the papilla. This is just 2 weeks after the immediate implant. Then we remove the plaque, and we have also the periapical X-ray showing a good position of the bone peaks regarding also adjacent teeth. This is the final picture that I have because it's not final restoration, it's just we are trying, and this is the day we cement the veneer in the contralateral and we place the final restoration that we are still making some changes. But see, a nice situation on the gingival margin, and also the mesial papilla, even it's higher than the contralateral, and nice volume. This is the follow-up till we are finishing the case, and we are moving to the second case. This is a young lady that has agenesia of the upper left lateral incisor. She underwent orthodontic treatment and also orthodontic surgery for bimaxillary advancement. Again, in the intraoral picture, we see that she has a beautiful situation of the soft tissue with a gingival margin position, but we don't have almost any root, and in the CBCT, we can observe that we don't have almost any alveolar bone. We have a great bone resorption in the horizontal aspect, so we will go for a ridge preservation and bone augmentation. We extract the tooth, and in this case, we will raise a flap because we need a big augmentation in the buccal and in the palatal side. This is also the intraoral and palatal view where we see those bone defects, and we, in the CBCT, for placing our implant in a three-dimensional optimal situation, we need more bone buccally and palatally. We know that, as urban studies show us, this is a very predictable procedure to perform a bone augmentation by the use of BioGuide, BIOS, in this case mixed with autogenous bone, and we can expect at 8 months around 5.5 millimeters of bone augmentation in the horizontal aspect. In this case, we would add this Regenfast, and after raising the flap, we apply this first layer of Regenfast to promote this cellular activity. Then we also will mix the BIOS with the Regenfast, these polynucleotides and hyaluronic acid, and then we place the resolvable membrane that is stabilized in the palatal side with stitches and in the buccal with some pins. See how we adapt this BioGuide membrane. It's very important that it's stable. And after closing the flap, in this case, I perform also, as you see, a third layer application of the Regenfast. This is the situation immediate post-op. In this case, I also did a pedicle graft from the palate, not to have primary intention, and this is 3 weeks healing. If we look in the lateral photo, we see that we, at 3 weeks, almost see any scar, probably due to the acceleration and promotion of this cellular activity by this material. Then, at 3 weeks, I decide to place a Maryland bridge. See how I give space for the papilla, it's too soon. So, 1 more week, then I start doing with some composite this pontic area and start pushing the tissue till I have a nice margin profile, because we want the patient to have some aesthetics with fixed restoration. And this is at 4 months, where we plan now to perform our CBCT and early re-entry. Nice contour, buccally and palatally, and we have again nice papilla, and this is just 4 months. We know that in this kind of big augmentations, we wait till 8 or 9 months to place the implant, but at 4 months, I did the CBCT, and we see that we have big volume horizontally, but we can differentiate perfectly the bone from the patient and the bone augmentation. Or we know that when we place implants, even though we do surgery or not, had we always prosthetically guide. So sometimes when I place implants in the aesthetic area and I don't do a guided surgery, I use this kind of guides. So it's easier to do the immediate implant and position it in the three-dimensional way correctly. This is in the re-entry. at 5 months, when I re-enter, we see a nice bone volume. And as the Beretta studies show, radiographically and histologically, in a case series study, he observed with the histological images a high mineralized bone and also almost or hardly any residual biomaterial. And that's what I saw also in the reentry. In this video, we can observe how we not distinguish the biomaterial from the native bone. So I decide to go for the implant placement. We drill, we place our implant three-dimensionally in a correct position, and we see that we have buccal bone and also palatal bone. We close our flap, and again, this is the situation at 3 weeks. Here we have the X-ray with the implant, and the follow-up, in this case, is just 1 month. Here is 1 month after the implant placement, and this provisional restoration with a Maryland bridge. This is the follow-up from baseline to 1 month post-op. As conclusions, I want to highlight and take some home message. The first one would be bioregeneration promotes the cellular activity and wound healing. The second would be, therefore, the use of these polynucleotides and hyaluronic acid called Regenfast. It promotes extracellular matrix deposition that would accelerate all this process. We have seen through preclinical and clinical study with some histological images how this accelerate, and we can perform this sooner reentry, showing any adverse effect when we perform ridge preservation. Also, it seems we could have promising results in clinical cases and some studies of this soon reentry. And finally, also, this is a Regenfast case for vertical augmentation. We see the CBCT at 5 months. It seems that its application and combination of this Regenfast with the BIOS and some preclinical studies also shown that in a sooner reentry we have mineralized bone and also high density bone. Thank you so much.